Hello.
Hello.
Good, whatever time zone it is.
I am the host now.
Good to be the king.
I wouldn't quite describe it like that.
Hello. Hey guys.
Hello. Okay, we'll give it a few minutes. I don't have a trivia question. Does anybody have a joke or something that can burn a couple minutes while we wait for folks to join?
If we knew trivia or had jokes, I guess we would have probably found other careers. That itself was a joke. Poor one though.
We'll see. We'll see. Well, how's everybody doing so far today?
Good. Seattle got warm.
Good.
Yeah, spring is coming.
Yeah, I got warmed up here too.
Where are people located?
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
DC.
I'm in Seattle. I'm in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I'm in the Bay Area as well.
All righty, let's see. Okay, I think that we can probably go ahead and get started. So I'll introduce things. Hello, everybody. It is the Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021 meeting of Kubernetes SIG Multicluster. I have the first thing on the agenda, so I will hand it over to me. All right. So the first thing that we've got on the agenda today is cluster registry repo is basically abandoned. I think we've moved on from this work in the SIG, and I have a ping from the steering committee asking us to make a decision about what we're going to do. So personally, I think that we should archive this repo. I don't think it's doing anything but confusing people at this point. I wonder what others think.
I agree. Yeah, I think last time we talked about this, and it was more than 6 months ago, if I remember right, we kind of came to the conclusion that like we think we're going to archive it, but we'll have to see what happens. And literally nothing happened with it since then. So that probably tells us what we need to know.
I agree. Anybody else want to offer an opinion?
I don't have an opinion. I have more of a question. So the idea was I could go to this registry and query all the clusters.
The idea was there was no idea.
Okay.
There's no big idea that was abandoned. It basically was a cart before horse thing, and we never got the horse.
All right. And so now under at least KubeFed, the idea is you can go to the CRD and get all the clusters that are involved in the multi-cluster or the federation, right?
That's right. KubeFed doesn't integrate with cluster registry anymore.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so here's what I'm hearing, that no one objects on this call, in keeping with lazy consensus, so we don't just like make this decision with a few people in a SIG meeting. I'll email the list and see if there are any reservations about it. My opinion is, if anybody wants to keep it alive, like they can, I think that we can basically archive it and someone can propose a new version of it, but I don't think any purpose is served by keeping it around just because, even if a couple folks are using it, it's certainly not adopted as any kind of standard. So
Right.
I will do that after this. And Laura, I think you've got the next item on the agenda.
Hey, it's me again. I can share just a little bit here. Can you see the agenda, I guess?
Yes.
And then if I click over to this other tab, do you see GitHub?
Yes.
Less. Okay, great. So my two topics, I want to give an update about cluster ID, of course. And the two major points are just to update on the naming survey. And then also that I've made some changes to the draft PR, and I think it's comment time. So just wanted to kind of maybe say a few things about that and invite everybody to give it a read. So I will start with the naming part first because it's maybe quick. So this is, I picked out kind of the most important question from the survey and then the three biggest contenders. So just, I guess, FYI, this is where it's kind of trending. In general, cluster property is kind of the winner if we sort of ignore the other section, which I'll talk about in a second. Cluster property is kind of the winner when, hit up against each other. And it's also has more like it's and love it's than hate it's. So that's interesting. And then cluster attribute is kind of like in a even spread, and is kind of like our third pick when people judge it across everything else. Cluster fact I kind of threw in here too as number 3 and also had historically been the most popular alternative. Was my feeling within the SIG, like people who come to the call. But it's well hated tragically. So just the update on that, not everybody is on the same page on that one. So this is the current kind of status. To speak a little bit more about the other section, there were a couple in there, like cluster claim reappeared, though we had kicked that out for our own reasons. And there had been some others that I don't think we would necessarily go with, like cluster UID and cluster link. But there were at least these 3 that I thought might be contenders. Cluster attributes S came in. Cluster declaration was an option, and cluster element. So anyways, just giving you some insight into what's coming through. I do want to ping cluster API group again, because the last time I really connected with them, it was when the spreadsheet existed. So I don't want to close it yet, but I wanted to give you all an update of the status, and then I'll take people's feelings about cluster fact RAP or any of these other graphs, or even how people feel about any of these other write-ins, and if it's the situation, if it's worth reopening with more options or keep rolling as we are for now.
My gut says let's keep rolling. I don't like any of those other ones that you just suggested.
Yeah, I mean,
it's nothing personal against them. I just don't think they're great.
Right. Yeah, these were just the only ones that felt like maybes, but I think, if us as kind of like the regular SIG attendees or, run in this don't feel like they're critical enough to redo this whole process, and get another quiz going, at least not yet, then we can hold off on that.
I mean, I think I don't see any reason to do another quiz. Maybe keep it open a bit longer. It's looking like it's probably going to be cluster property, which is perfectly boring and descriptive.
Yes.
Yeah, I would be okay with cluster property if that's where we settled up.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question what it is, so that's good.
Yeah. All right, well, that's the update on this, and I will come back with it again after I've pinged cluster API and responses slowed down again. And then my other point is that I think it's comment time for this PR. I've made some updates and integrated the feedback as best I could from our discussion 2 weeks ago. I think I mostly got most of it. I think one section down here, I kind of put the like to KK or not to KK, and I attempted to make sort of a little rubric of what I believe the like things are that people feel there's a difference between the two. And also what I gathered was, you know, the truth of the situation for either of these. But I think this, which we can also see in not markdown version. If I view the file, it will render it to me. Thank you. Yeah, so kind of tried to organize these thoughts and also mention, you know, some of the things we were talking about. So this is the part I'm probably least confident in, but also is maybe
meta
not.
comment.
Yeah.
I feel like it should be to CRD or not to CRD.
Oh, sure. Okay, we can change that. But yeah, I wanted to write it somewhere that we could all, you know, mull over it more formally. So,
Awesome.
but so hopefully that helps instead of hurts the situation. But other than that, I also tried to address all the other unresolved points. Some of the stuff that was unresolved in other sections, I kind of moved it down to the design details section. So hopefully the comments get you to the right place. And yeah, I mean, I think if everybody could give it a read and then make some comments, and then I can do the same sort of iteration like we did with the provisional. I'll try and distill any comments I can't resolve alone into, you know, slides, and we can talk about them here and keep it rolling.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any other content around that or things folks want to say?
Well, I guess
Okay.
maybe time
Go
boxing on the naming discussion, because that seems like, you know, implementable or not. I think everyone's kind of seems to be on board with the concept. We need to figure out the KK or CRD pretty quickly, but we can't really do anything without a name. So
right.
Do you just want to maybe blast everybody one more
Yeah.
time, and then next week we'll just pick it or something?
Yeah, I think so. I'll blast everybody, say the deadline is next Tuesday. And I'll just do that right after this. So it's 7 days. And then I think that's good. I think that's a good idea.
All righty. Excellent. I have a couple little updates about some potpourri type stuff. So one is that Chojin raised a PR to put the Google Doc contents into Work API repo. And you can take a look at that. It's PR number 4 on Work API. My bias is let's go ahead and merge what's there since it's encoding what was just in the doc. And we can tackle any changes to that on as follow-on PRs, but I'd prefer to like get something up into the main branch of that repo to demonstrate what we're doing and like the direction that we go or direction that we're thinking about. And then finally, I have apparently been instructed in a reliable way to add videos to the YouTube playlist, which is a bizarrely complex and hidden activity that like I guess was hiding in plain sight and I just didn't know for whatever reason, and like the knowledge wasn't kind of like in an accessible place. So I should be able to get meeting recordings onto the YouTube playlist much faster than I have been. So that's what I've got for today. Anybody want to discuss anything else?
Both of those sound good to me. Definitely on the PR, I agree. Let's not discuss the doc.
Yeah.
Let's build on it instead.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, I guess that's all for today. Thanks for joining, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.